So, decisions were made. Out with that fridge, and I bought an AC fridge. It's a 4.7 cubic foot Danby residential refrigerator. Now, I realize there are going to be probably more than just a few of you that are going to be like, but Mark, you've now lost the capability to keep your food cold whilst on the road. Well, that's not necessarily true. In the refrigerator compartment, now that I'm going to have some extra room because my refrigerator is going to be smaller, I'm thinking that I'm going to put the Energy Kodiak in this space with the batteries. That way I have the refrigerator kind of like up on a shelf, easy access. You know, you don't have to be that high because I ain't that tall. But I keep my batteries and all of my Energy Kodiak kind of gear and stuff down toward the bottom. Easy access, easy maintenance, both from inside or outside. And if that's the case, it's more than easy to plug in the refrigerator directly into the Energy Kodiak because it has not one, not two, not three, but 6 AC outlets directly there on it. And after it's already cold, it only draws roughly like about a half an amp. So it's not that much. The biggest concern that I have with replacing this, because it was so convenient, was that residential fridges really aren't made to be in an RV. They're not meant to be jostled all around all the time. So there's a really good chance that something crazy might go wrong with it, and then what the hell do I do? Well, I tell you what I do. I got this Walmart protection plan. It was only $34 for 3 years. If anything goes wrong with it, no matter what, it could be random wear and tear, and they will replace it or refund my money. And while that's still not the same as having like a really cool 12 volt AC and propane style fridge, it does give me a bit of peace of mind because I don't know how much this refrigerator is going to be tossed around. I do plan to strap it down to secure it in some way, shape, or form. But because it's significantly smaller, I am going to have to do some trim work to make it look nice. Because we all know I'm not going to do anything in this place unless it looks nice. But now that I've got this wide open space here, so I mean I've got plenty of floor space. I don't know how tall the refrigerator is yet, but it goes up to about 59 or 60 inches or so here at the trim piece. And there is technically another shelf up in here. We just sort of block that off. So I could, you know, in theory, do something up here in this area. But whenever you have stuff that moves, it is always better to put the weight at the bottom and not so much up at the top, because as that weight shifts around, you can kind of see the problem. But with this nice big huge space all open, wide open and stuff now, I plan to re-insulate this whole area and begin the process of making it a bit more airtight than what it ever was before. I also need to cap off the propane line, and there's some 12 volt wires there that actually need to be twisted off. But this is the side of the RV that basically I must have hit a wire somewhere up there with the solar panels. So the refrigerator stopped working because I didn't have 12 volts. The bed light over there quit having power. This, what I call a hallway light, quit having power. The 2 lights in the bathroom, they quit. And the exhaust fan in the bathroom quit having power as well. But the AC outlet works just fine. So as of this moment, I am literally waiting on my delivery of the brand new refrigerator. I don't know what time they're supposed to be here. They always just kind of give you a roundabout estimate. And it's never nearly as accurate as you want it to be. But it is supposed to be here sometime this afternoon. And as soon as I get it here and I'm able to kind of take some exact measurements, find out where the hinges and all that kind of stuff are, I should then get a much better idea of where I'm actually going to put it and how I'm going to get it in there, and then how I'm going to configure everything else, especially getting my solar power wires from the solar panels up on the roof down into this cabinet going into my Energy Kodiak. So let me see in here. Okay, so this is up. And this is the refrigerator vent, right? All right, so I just want to cut a small hole right up there, just enough so that the solar panel cords can come down here. And with that in place, no matter where I put it, like I could just run the cable right along this wall, and then this is where the 12 volt wires for the refrigerator came in right there. So I could just cut this hole out a little bit bigger since it's already there, and I could run it through this cabinet, and then through this cabinet, and then down here into the garage area as well. That would probably be the most ideal, but if I just wanted to leave it here, I guess I could. I only slightly worry about gas and electricity kind of commingling in the same space. So it's a slight concern, but not overly so. I mean, there's electricity, you know, right there. So I do have a few different options, but I do think for sure that I'm going to cut a hole in this area right up in here. I'm just going to allow my photovoltaic cables to slip through, and I will make contact down here somewhere in the belly of the beast. Just try and give you an idea real quick. Going up the ladder. Okay, so solar panel wiring is basically done, but I am waiting for some split loom wiring covers to get here before I actually get them solidly down either under or on the roof of the camper. But I also have a secondary access here for the roof vent for the refrigerator. So I could go through the back and then down, or I could just sort of loop the wire around. Of course, it would look a little less appealing in that particular direction, but I don't think it would look horrible. But if you looky here, like I've got a PV wire, it goes perfectly underneath there. It just won't pass the lip. There's like a lip under there, and that's to prevent, you know, the rain and the water and the runoff from coming in. I just don't know exactly like where it goes or how high it goes. Can't really tell. So I am thinking that probably the more logical choice is to just go around and then down and in. At least I think that's the way that's going to give me the least amount of headache. But as soon as I get all of this stuff covered up, I'm just going to connect my PV wires right there to that junction box. I've got 6-way branch connectors in there. So one 6-way branch connector for the hots, and then 6 branch connectors for the ground, and they'll all be protected inside this box. And I'm going to VHB tape it to the roof. And then once, like I said, once my split loom gets here, I can do some cable management, clean all this up. But just kind of getting a general basic idea of how it's all going to lay out. I think the vast majority of the cables and wires I should be able to protect underneath. I should be able to shove the cables underneath. The only thing I'm worried about is, you know, it gets really hot for the most part with these panels, but underneath it should be more protected. And with the split loom, I think it'll be just perfect. Okay, we got the refrigerator out, so I am just waiting on the new refrigerator to arrive now. That was honestly not nearly as bad as I thought. I managed to get the whole refrigerator out of the cabinet by myself. I couldn't get it through the door and down the steps by myself. I guess I probably could have if I put like a little ramp or something going from in here to out there, but it just wasn't going to work with as good as it would have, you know, actually having some help. So now I'm going to get in here, use these snips, snip me out a little bit of wire, and I should be able to run my solar cables down into this cabinet area. It's very cramped in here. I've always hated doing permanent modifications, but it's not like this is super expensive, and it's not like it's hard to replace if it somehow, for some reason, doesn't work out. Got me just a little square there. And now I got to test and see if my PV wire will go through that. Alright, it looks like the negative is the bigger of the two. Yeah, that would work. but I'm hitting, so I'm gonna have to make it a little bit bigger. All right, look at that. They're sticking out. That is so nice. Okay, so it will work there. It's not gonna be super attractive, but it's gonna work, and that's what counts. Okay, just doing a quick test. I've got the wires coming in from the roof, so I still need to drill holes through the cabinets so that we can get it down here into the garage. I had originally thought that I might put it here, but man, I'm second guessing it because there's no easy way for me to actually plug in the whole RV. So I've got a slight load on it right now. I've got all the solar panels hooked up out there. It is keeping me topped off. So I've got this heater on here. It draws a lot of amperage. Charging up my iPad, and I've got this fan running, just kind of testing it. I'm only drawing about 5 amps total. But if I turn on this heater and I put it on 70, look at how many amps just a small space heater draws. About 180 amps. Starting to level out now, but look how many watts that uses. 1800, roughly 1800 watts. Battery lights are going way down. 168 amps. I mean, that is a massive, massive load. Shut it off. Right back down to 5.5 amps. But remember, a fully charged battery rests at about 12.4 to 12.6, somewhere in that range. So let me pull the solar panels out. Let me disconnect the load here and turn off the inverter. So that's sitting at 12.4 now. When it levels back out, it drug the battery down to about 12.2. That's pretty significant just for a couple of seconds of that heater. That's the reason why you can't use heating or air conditioning on this thing. So let me plug the solar panels back up. So just remember that this is not the real voltage on your battery. This is sort of like a phantom voltage. But those solar panels, I mean 600 watts, I mean it'll recharge stuff pretty fast. And I've got about 18 or 19 amps roughly coming through here. Well, I don't know about you all, but that's pretty exciting. Finally got all of the solar hooked up. Honestly, it was easier than I thought it was going to be, but because first of all, we didn't run anything in series. We ran everything in parallel. I just had to get a 6 plug branch connector for the positives and the negatives, and then I ran the 2 main cables down through the roof, and then plugged them into that special Nutric connector that you can get with the Energy Kodiak, and you're pretty much done. The solar panels will immediately begin to deliver power to the Energy Kodiak just that fast and begin to charge up that battery. So as long as you have, just a little bit of a load going through there, those solar panels are going to take nothing to recharge that battery all the way back up to full. Like I said, I'm only going to be pushing roughly 18, 19 amps, depending on where the sun's at, where I'm at in the country, and depending on, how the light is actually hitting the panels. I should only be putting in the system roughly, peak, maximum, roughly 20 amps. And that solar charge controller that's built into the Energy Kodiak can handle up to 40 amps. Unfortunately, it can't handle higher voltages. And that's really what I was hoping to do, was kind of boost that voltage up just a little bit so that I didn't have to use as thick of gauge wire. But I'm going to have the Energy Kodiak right next to my batteries anyway, so, the thickness of the wire or the length of the wire in comparison to the thickness, it's not going to matter to me much. Just remember that volts equals the pressure and how far the electricity can go without losing a lot of that pressure to heat. You start losing some of your electricity to heat if it doesn't have enough pressure to shoot at long distances. That's the reason you want to keep all of your wires and stuff as short as possible, because you lose less to heat inefficiency, and you basically are able to capture more of the electricity back into your system. Alright, so that's all I've got for you all today. I'm probably going to work on the refrigerator later. Maybe I'll record that too, but it probably won't be in this video. At any rate, thanks so much for hanging out with me here on yet another riveting episode of Avion Awesome. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I'm going to see you guys again on the next one. Peace out.